non-scale victories and defeats on Mounjaro. Hello everyone, for anyone that doesn't know me, my name's Lauren. I have been on Mounjaro journey now since March 2025, where I've lost 4 stone on Mounjaro. Previous to that, I've lost 4 stone previous to Mounjaro. That makes sense? So in total, I've now lost it's Monday morning. So altogether, I've now lost 8 stone, of which I'm very, very happy about. And I'm here to share all of that journey with your wonderful, beautiful selves. And today, I'm going to discuss the importance of those non-scale victories, along with, at the very end, I will share a defeat. Not really a defeat, but something that I miss greatly, that I used to do a lot before Mounjaro, before my wellness journey. So stay tuned, give this a like, give it a follow, ring the bell, and all that jazz. Let's get into it. So as I said at the start there, we are going to have a little look at those non-scale victories that happen when you're on a wellness journey, whether it's Mounjaro, whether it's Wegovy, whether it's medicated or not medicated. It's so important to focus on those non-scale victories and not just obsess about numbers, whether it's a number on the scales, a number in terms of the sizes of your clothes. Yes, they are great moments, milestones to celebrate, but they're not the be all and bloody end all. Because we all know that when we add things like exercise in, we might shake up the foods that we're in, we might be on our monthlies. Sometimes the scales and our sizes don't want to agree to us. They can piss us right off, I'll have you know. So that's when it's important to think, okay, what non-scale things are going on in my life? And I'd really encourage you to comment down below the kind of non-scale victories that you've had in your life, whatever stage of the journey you may be at. And like I say, at the end, I'm going to share with you that, again, the word defeat isn't perhaps right, but the thing that I do miss the most, that I don't have anymore, and certainly don't get that same satisfaction from now that I'm on this wellness journey. So one of the first things that I really noticed as a non-scale victory was actually linked with travel. So I'm going to do a little travel section here. Now, I was travelling into London last year to do a workshop. And for the first time in a long time, I decided to sit my ass down on the tube. I'd never sat on the tube. Why had I never sat on the tube? Even if it wasn't a very busy tube, I still did not sit on the tube. How many times can I say tube? Tube. And I realised that it was because I was so afraid to take up space and that I'd be overlapping onto the poor sod next to me. Can I have that back? Thank you, ma'am. And I was afraid of making other people uncomfortable and in turn making myself very uncomfortable. So I just stand up all the time. It was just, it wasn't even a conscious thing that I thought about. It was just built into my body to stand up. Because why on earth would you even risk squeezing your ass into a seat? And it was summer as well. So I remember being in this kind of all-in-one jumpsuit and I just sat there and felt comfortable in the seat. I folded my legs as I've got my legs crossed now. Something that, again, wasn't really usual for me to do. I was never a leg crosser. In fact, I thought it quite alien. And I just sat there and felt fine. Felt not snug. Felt comfortable sitting on a tube seat. But also felt so liberated. I felt like I was sat there naked. But that liberation of, oh my goodness, I am just sat here normally. I don't feel like eyes are on me. I don't feel like someone's coming on and going, well, if she wasn't sat there, we'd be able to get 2 of us sat there. It just felt great and was such a moment that I really recognised and didn't realise that it was a problem until it wasn't. I loved it. So staying on that vein of travel, another non-scale victory of mine. For my work, I used to be a freelance Christmas decorator for posh people's houses or large-scale commercial shops. So we'd be travelling up and down the country to do that around the season of merriment. And for me, I got that panic back again of getting in these vans with these people because I thought I can't sit in the middle. So I want to be sat at the edge so I can squish myself up as far, to that edge as possible so that they do not feel like I'm encroaching on their space. So I would make myself feel so uncomfortable and be so pulled up against that edge just so I can make sure no one else noticed that I was taking up as much space as I needed to take up. And I hadn't felt that panic in such a long time because I worked at the same company for 12 years and everyone there knew me. I think I mentioned that in my last video that I had that connection with everyone else. People knew who I was. People didn't associate me necessarily with being Lauren who is fat. It was just Lauren because I'd literally grown there. I'd literally grown there. I don't think they noticed the expansion happen. And neither did I because I didn't need to wear a uniform. If I was in a car with someone, I'd be like, move up. it would be fine. I'd have that relationship. But then suddenly with these new people, I felt that panic back again. And that was kind of 2023. So then the year 2024, when I'd been very much on that journey, pre-medication, but I still was on a weight loss journey, I didn't feel it as much. And then 2025, I didn't feel it at all. No panics about where I'd be sitting in a van with people that I didn't know. No panics about, I need to squish up against the side. No panics about, is the seatbelt going to fit? It was such a relief not to have that anxiety pumping away. Dun, 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 Fanny's gonna get ya. Not pumping away in my body. It was brilliant. And obviously this year, again, sticking on travel, I got a whole new job. So 12 years I worked at one job. Then 2023 I left, struggled again in that 2023 year with all those worries of fitting in vans, fitting in wherever, fitting in uniforms. And then 24, lost half that weight, 4 stone of it, and started to have that pressure alleviated. This year, 2025, had it alleviated completely. So again, was with a whole new group of workforce people, had to travel around, had to go on planes, trains, automobiles, all of it, and did not have that stress of, am I going to fit? Am I going to make others uncomfortable? Am I going to need a seatbelt extender? Am I going to be shamed from the plane? I didn't have any of that worry, to the point where the non-scale victory of fitting in whatever travel thing I was in, whether it was a tube, a car, a train, a plane, that non-scale victory made the difference of me taking a whole new job. I wouldn't have the job that I've got now, which is the best paid job I've had, the most rewarding job I've had, and such a big stepping stone for me. I would never have taken that job just because I would have been worried about how am I going to travel that much? Once I've got one set of travel done, I'll be just worried about the next. Thinking, is that plane going to be different? Is that airline going to have the same seat size as that one? Does that mean it's going to be more of a struggle or less of a struggle? I would never have taken the job because I'd have been so worried about that travel element, which is such a big part of it. I just would have not taken it, which is insane for me to almost admit to, that would have been the reason. And I don't even know if I would have consciously realised that was the reason, but it would have been a massive subconscious challenge really to have overcome. So to think that the non-scale victory of just fitting in seats has changed the course of my career is mesmerizing. And again, if you feel any familiarity in this, no matter what stage you are at your journey, if you're at the very start of your journey where you still feel that, fitting in society, whether it's literally in the trains or in the physical seats, is holding you up, or whether you feel like that's now changed and you're feeling that alleviation, write it down in the comments, share it out, because it is such a big element of everyday life that we've dealt with as larger people that are now in a smaller body or that are on that journey to getting there. So that's how the non-scale victories have helped my travel. So now let's talk about how the non-scale victories have shown up in my fun life. Not like that. Maybe a bit. Let's talk theme parks. Now I know a lot of us large Margers. I'll always be a large Marge at heart. She's always in there. The thought of a theme park, don't make me do it, Sandra D. The panic. I would research a theme park pre the attendance so that I could see what those seats were like. I could see if any fellow fatties, I'm allowed to say that, having been one. I'd like to see how my fellow fatties would have mounted said ride. And I don't know about you, but I would often be in the queue and look out for other fellows and see how they were feeling about it. Were they also looking around? I'd like to see someone get in the ride first before me. Sometimes there were those rides that said, if you are above a certain weight or height, aim for these rows. My eyes would be on those rows, and I wouldn't even want to tell anyone that I was with that I had that thought. I'd be like, let's just go here, all right? Now, there's never been a ride that I haven't been able to fit on, even as my 19.5 stone self, but I think that's because I avoided half of them and didn't go on theme parks for years and years and years, even though I love it. I love adrenaline. I love it. Never did it. For all those years where I was between 19.5, maybe 16.5 stone, between that bracket, which was most of my adult life, let's be honest. And then last year, I went to one with one of my best friends from home. I went to Thorpe Park. I loved it. I think I've got one of my little short videos on there showing it, but it was brilliant. And what was the best bit, I loved having the adrenaline. I loved being able to laugh, but I loved not carrying that anxiety of will I fit on the pissing ride? Just being able to queue up for anything you want to queue up for and know that you're fine was brilliant. After that, I also did a spontaneous trip with my friend, again, which I would never have done, to Disneyland Paris. So her sister works in Disneyland, and we were just having a walk in Wendover Woods, as you do. And she was saying, oh, I'm going to go to Disney just to see my sister. You know, I'm not going with anyone. And I said, what dates are you going? She told me. I said, I might come with you. And she was like, do it. I was like, I'm going to come. I couldn't have done that had I not got my current job, which I wouldn't have got had I not lost the weight because I would have put myself on it. I wouldn't have been able to afford that had I not got that job. So I've got the weight to thank. B, I would not have gone. If I had the money, I wouldn't have gone anyway, because I'd have been like, what's the point in going to a theme park where I won't be able to fit on anything, or I'll be constantly thinking every single ride, can you fit on it? Can you fit on it? Can you fit on it? So I wouldn't have gone. And we had the best time, dancing around at Kaylee's. We went to a Kaylee on Burns night. So I think, was that last week? And again, I had the best time, skipping, jumping, dancing around. And that was something that I stopped myself doing previously, because I know that there is a dance. I know that there's one where you put your arms round and basically the men, or the taller one, lift the others. Good luck lifting this back at 19.5 stone. The panic was just too much because I didn't know what the dance was called, or wouldn't have known it until I was in it. I was like, I can't go, because what if that dance comes up? Well, the dance came up this time. And luckily there was an alternative anyway. But I wasn't terrified by it. I wasn't terrified. Lift me, Marine! So it really has meant I can lean into that fun side that I love so much. Now let's talk how those non-scale victories have helped my sporty side. I was no Sporty Spice. No, I was a Mel B when we were portraying the Spice Girls. No, definitely not that sporty one. No, siree. I was the one that would do a cross country. I'd be at the end. Actually, my mum, God love my mum, she could see how detrimental the cross country was for me. I was a little round apple. I couldn't do the run. I couldn't do it. It wasn't helping me in any way, shape or form. It was just making me feel worse in myself, made the bullying worse. I hated it. So my mum wrote me a letter and she said to them, look, she will do any other sports. She enjoys her swimming. That's probably about it, actually. She enjoys her swimming. But she ain't going up and down like an idiot because she can't do it. The teacher said she has to. It's for 7 weeks. And she said, right, 7 weeks? They said, yes. She said, 7 weeks, every Monday at 11 a.m. Is that right? And they said, yes. And she said, Lauren's got an appointment with the doctors for the next 7 weeks at 11 a.m. every Monday. They couldn't do a thing back then. They couldn't do a thing. But she wanted to take me out of school so I didn't have to be put through that embarrassment, because she knew that out of school, I was doing my swimming. I even did gymnastics. I was trying to do things. I was in weight away since the age of 13. I was trying, but she knew that putting me through that wasn't what helped. And I'm sure a lot of people will have their own comments to make on that. But what am I doing now regularly? I do a park run every Saturday. I've just managed to get my park run PB of 29 minutes and 30 odd seconds. The longest I can now run is 8k. That little fat round apple Lauren then would never have thought that was possible. I just did not think it was in my makeup, in my genetics. But that joy that I felt for that little girl that could not run, that could not do the high jump, that couldn't deal with the thought of having to go to PE. I wish I could say to her, you're going to be able to do this, or you're going to be able to have a choice to do it if you want to do it. It just sits with me for that minute. And I generally feel a little bit emotional about it because, you know, that little girl went through so much to just avoid doing any kind of sport or being seen because she was just ripped down for it. And it makes me quite emotional to think that now I don't feel that way at all. And it's brilliant. Well, enough of that shit. Got a good eyeliner on. I also went kayaking, I'll have you know. So I live by a canal. Very lucky, I know. Saw a kingfisher the other day. And they do little kayaking sessions. And I thought, I'd love to do that. I would never have done that. Non-scale victory, get it in the bag. Yes, my knee hurt afterwards. But I did the kayaking, I enjoyed it. I then went back home, saw my niece and nephew. She wanted to go jump in a little kayak thing around a little pond. I went in with her. She was like, Auntie Lauren, will you come with me? Yes, I will. Would I have said yes before? No, because I'd have been nervous that I would have capsized the poor little cow right in. I go on swings with them. I go down slides with them. I run about with them. And yes, I would have wanted to go on the swings and slides before, but I perhaps would have held myself back. They don't see that I've changed in any way, but I know that I have. I know that I do more with them now than I ever did in my larger body. I know that. And I want to lean into more. There's more that I want to do. I want to have a little go at tennis. I want to have a little go. We've got some snow slopes near us. I want to have a little go at that. I would never even considered it before. Look out. Another non-scale victory is in things like my skin and my body. So my skin is a lot better. But in terms of my body, I don't hurt anymore. Well, not half as much as I did. I'm not afraid to say I struggled to turn around to wipe my own ass at my heaviest. It was painful. And that's when I thought, oh my goodness, are you struggling willing to turn around and wipe your ass because you're overweight? Is that the reason? And I thought, no, you must have pulled your back or something. No, that was why. And also, whenever I used to sit on a toilet in a public loo, half my ass would be sat on the sanitary bin. Sorry for men that don't understand about that, but you have a little sanitary bin next to you. I tell you, half a cheek was on that. I didn't even think about that until right now. Yeah, my back would be in pain, even sleeping because the pressure on the spine. My ankles would be in a lot of pain. I had plantar fasciitis all the time. Getting out of bed, I'd be like, ow, 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 walking. I don't have that anymore at all. For anyone that knows, before I damaged my ankle, it was like a really small fracture. Again, I did that near my biggest, and I never really healed from that. And that pain in those ankles and those feet have got a lot less. I can still feel it, it's present, but it's got much less. I walk a lot faster now. And before, I was just in pain, and I didn't realise how much pain I carried, and I wouldn't have thought I was in pain until now, when I'm not in that pain and I am able to move around a lot quicker or have that energy that I never had. That sluggishness has just gone. I had quite a bingy weekend. I'll talk about that in a minute. But that sluggishness, I felt afterwards. I was like, oh, I remember that. Yeah, those are some of the non-scale victories that I really want to share with you, and hopefully if you're on a similar journey to me, that you can recognise that you've had similar things, or you might have had a lot more things. Again, please do like and subscribe if this is a kind of schism you love to hear about, and add it to the comments below. And if you're at the start of your journey, these are the kind of things that are coming for you. They're around the corner for you, people. And that's exciting. And what else is there? It's so exciting. But now I'm going to go on to the non-scale defeat. Again, not a defeat, but it's the one thing that I miss the most about not being on a healthy journey. It's very controversial. Oh, before that, there's one more thing. Non-scale victory. Eating in public. I'm fine with eating in public now. I used to have to go home dinner time at school because I used to hate eating in school. My old work, we used to have meetings where it was a lunch meeting. Hated it. I used to sit there and eat the salads, go home, binge eat everything else that I actually wanted to eat. Or sneakily grab chocolate and things like that when no one was seeing it. Hide it under my desk, eat it just with the people I felt comfy with. Oh, restaurants. Me and my other half, he used to be like, oh, should we go to a restaurant? And I used to put it off, or I used to have to look at the configuration of the seats to make sure I could fit in them. Just horrendous. But that does bring me on to the last point. That is the thing that I actually miss about not being on a healthy journey, and it's linked with food and eating. And I realised it the other day that I miss sometimes a feeling of going out, knowing that I'm going to a shop to get a load of food that I'm going to sit in and eat by myself whilst watching some of my favourite rubbish on telly. Now, that's not a healthy thing to miss, is it? But I miss that happiness that I had from even that walk to the shop, that excitement, not even the consuming it, but that excitement of what I was about to get and what I was about to do in the comfort of my own home by myself. And I noticed it when I was walking to the shop the other day to pick up a vintage parcel, and I thought, oh, I miss knowing that this walk was me going to go and get loads and loads of food. Because I knew that I was walking to that shop and I knew that I wasn't going to get loads and loads of food because I didn't want loads and loads of food. But part of me missed that feeling of not caring, of being like, well, you're at your biggest. How much worse can it get? Let's just go and get everything and then let's go and hide it. Part of me misses that. And back to what I said before, I did have a bit of a bingy weekend. I purposely should have jabbed on the Thursday and I didn't because I wanted to have that. And I did it. Before I knew it, I was down a pack of Marylands, 2 egg custard tarts and a pack of mini eggs. And again, that isn't a touch on what my bingers used to be. But that day afterwards, my headache, the sluggishness, the feeling of regret, that shame, all came back. And thank goodness I've now got the ability to flick that switch and go, no, stop now. And I wanted to stop. And I did stop. And having my tool of Mounjaro, whether it's just psychologically, made me go, that's in your system now. You've got no choice. You're not doing it anymore. But I'd love to hear what you think about that. It's a really difficult thing for me to admit because I love the sense of control now. I love knowing that I'm making healthy choices. I love knowing that I'm doing the right thing for my body. I love knowing that I'm on a healthy wellness journey and that those bingers don't exist in my life anymore, half as much as they used to. But that old Lauren, she's still there. That person that has got that struggle and that obsession with food, it still sits in there. And sometimes I miss her. Sometimes I miss the comfort that she brought of being okay, being in that bigger body and just consuming. And now I know that I can never go back to that. I will never go back to that. And sometimes it's odd sitting knowing that. I don't know what I am without being on a weight loss journey. My other half said to me the other day, because I'd gone to the shop to get us some bits for tea, oh, never go to a Sainsbury's on a Sunday. Oh, when you're not sure what you need to buy, because there wasn't much there. So, and I knew I was really hungry there and then. So I bought those little, again, highly processed, but they were the chicken raiders, they're called. They were the meat-free option. Again, highly processed, but a better option than grabbing a double decker. And I was eating that on the way home. And then I'd got us some corn scallop things for tea, and again I was like, oh, they're highly processed as well. So I was feeling a bit negative about that, and I said to Paul, my other half, oh, there was just rubbish in, you know, I've eaten those Raider things, we've got this for tea, which isn't the best thing, and that's never going to help me lose weight. And he said, why are you still trying to lose weight? I said, well, I still need to lose some weight. And he said, well, no, you're fine now, surely you should be maintaining. And it made me think, when will I be satisfied? Because I've always, since leaving that womb, I've always been trying to lose weight. I've never known a time in my life that I haven't been trying to lose weight or eat healthily or being run into the shops because I want to have a binge. I've never known a time where that's not my whole identity. So for me, him saying, surely you're all right now. Surely this is you now. You wanted to get to a size 14, you are. And now I'm like, well, maybe I should just get to that 12. And then when I'm at that 12, will I think maybe I should just get to that 10? When will it be enough? And I'm going to share it with you all. I'm going to share all those updates. Today's post has been quite vulnerable, hasn't it? Like, I find it quite vulnerable opening up honestly and feeling nervous about what that future brings. I love being on the journey with all of you and being able to say that comfortably and say I'm not sure if I'm happy, or, you know, our whole life we went through thinking if we just lose the weight, if we just get to that size, if we just get to that bracket, we'll be fine. And then we get there and there's still those question marks. Ultimately, I am over the moon about where I am now. Over the moon about being that size 14 comfortably. Over the moon about being well and truly into that 11 stone bracket. Over the moon about all these fabulous non-scale victories that we can share with each other. Over the moon about being healthy and happy. But we've still got a journey to go on. It's not just about the body, is it? It's about the mind as well. Together, we can sort it out, can't we? So if this video has felt familiar to you in any way, if it echoes anything that you feel, whether you're on the journey, off the journey, considering the journey, please give me a follow, give us a comment, let me know how you're getting on. And I'll be back, I'm sure, with some more tips and tricks and just sharing the emotional side, perhaps, of the journey that I've been on. See if it can help even one person. I'll be happy with that. Have a gorgeous week, everyone. Keep being fabulous and write down those non-scale victories when you have them. Love you, Mounjaro Munchers.